Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, it is early in the morning, and I promised y'all, and I said I was going to continue to be doing my 30-minute a day walking. I always talk about United Fitness and how he gets on camera, and basically the only thing that he does is ride his bike and he talks to the people. So, I said to him that one day I'm going to be able to ride a bike and be able to talk to the people. But for right now, the best thing for me to do is walk and talk to you. And that is going to be my exercise. As I said, I made the promise of being able to walk for 30 minutes a day and kind of give you my quick thoughts and ideas for the day. This morning I woke up and I decided to change the scenery. And the beginning of that scenery was the beach. So I drove down to the beach, try to make it before sunrise, because as soon as the sunrise, guess what? That's my 30 minutes. Now, I'm not necessarily limiting myself for 30 minutes, but that word limit is what we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. If I use the words limit, what are we limiting ourselves to? What limits do we put on ourselves? Do we use words and terminologies that is kind of plaguing our mind and causing us to stagnate our own selves? Over these past few weeks, being a content creator and interviewing many people and talking to many people, there's a word that we tend to use. We use these big sociological words like contraband, and we use words like colonizations, and I own a black-owned business, and we just want to serve only one race of people, or one ethnicity, or we want to serve only this group. We only want to do this with this group. And we're really limiting ourselves in the 21st century when we think this way. When we only think of servicing black people in America, we limit ourselves, because think about it. If you only service 13%, that means in order to make money, you got to literally monopolize 13% of the population. And we know that that's economically and marketably impossible. But if we even take 20% of that same market, that means you have to dominate that market with your products and services in order to make a well-to-do dent in the market. And that is almost impossible. But the market that we need to be looking at is the global market, international market. We need to be learning how to expand our minds and expand our growth and expand our business. When I was growing up, that sounded like a great concept. But the reality is, we had no way to go overseas. Unless you had the money to fly overseas, or you went into the military, and if you was in the military, you surely wasn't thinking about international business. Now, I'm not trying to say that these ideas did not take place, but we didn't really have the economic access. But today, we have international access. We can go online. We can talk to people in any country, any place. And while I'm not discouraging us to learn a new language, what I am saying is, universally, we can speak to anybody in any language. We can write letters to them. By using our translators, we can basically speak English, because majority of the world speaks English, and some speaks Mandarin and Spanish. But the idea, the concept is we have the ability to be internationally minded. We have a whole world all to us. You know, I tell you something else too. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, it's cold as heck crap out here. I hope y'all understand Uncle Stu got a lot of sacrifice for you. But meanwhile, we have to start thinking outside the box. We have to start thinking bigger than who we are. We have to start thinking big things. We have to sometimes do the uncomfortable things in our environments. You know, it's not comfortable when you have to separate yourself from the pack in order to be the lone wolf to find a pack that's going somewhere. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from small minds in order to develop a big mind. Sometimes you have to separate yourself from people, places, and things in order to see a new world and get a new vision. You know, my message is definitely one of expansion, of development, of growth. You know, I challenge you that if you can't travel the way you want to travel, if you can't go to France or Ghana, or you can't go to South Africa, or you can't go to Nigeria or any of these places, how about for today, why don't you pick up a book and read about these places? Learn about these places. You know, I was talking with another YouTuber and young man, and he was talking about monarchies, and he was talking about philosophy, and deep-minded young man. And what touched me was the fact that I think he's 27 years old, and this man is thinking about deep political philosophies. We barely can get people to vote, and this man is thinking on a higher level in government minds. And I was very impressed. But it also let me know that we too may need to start thinking on higher levels of our life, our business, our family. You know, we shouldn't let the P word keep us so stagnant that we can't grow, we can't think, we can't be who God says we can be. Now, I don't care what religion you are right now, because that's a relevant debate to me. But what is relevant to me is that whether you serve the God of the Bible or the Quran or you're a Hindu, your God created a big old world. Huge. He created the heavens and the earth and all that is in it. So how is it that now we've allowed ourselves to be limited to a world that God says it is ours to control and possess? And that word control doesn't mean destruction. It means exploitation. It means the ability to see things and to explore things and to be a part of things. I ask you, may sound like I'm jumbling in words, but here's the reality. There's a whole world out here that we can do business and we can travel and we can begin to see. We don't have to be limited by the things people say we should be limited in. If you're a business owner, no matter what that business is, get out of the mindset of just saying, well, I'm a black-owned business. Because let's be honest, did you set up your business to make a profit or to make a social statement? And how much is that social statement costing you? Is it costing you money? Is it worth you not making as much money as you can? All because you're trying to make a social statement? You know, think about it. Does Amazon go out here and say, well, we're a white-owned company? Does McDonald's run out here and say, well, we're a white-owned company? Even Chick-fil-A, it doesn't really come out here and say, well, we're a Christian-owned company and we only want Christians, and if you're not a Christian, you can't buy our products. Isn't that the very thing we say in the black community we fought against? You know, isn't that the biggest argument, that we feel we can compete with anybody, regardless of race or sexual orientation? Isn't that what we say? But is that what we're doing? You know, I don't really, I look at my analytics, but I only look at it to make sure that the content that I'm putting out and the information I'm putting out is relevant to your life. Now, you know, I may have a set amount of subscribers, but I also have a big number of viewers. So I talk to two different markets. Some of these markets is right here in the United States, and some of it is overseas and in Canada. And I get to talk to people in Europe, Great Britain, some parts of Africa. So I communicate with an international market. And while I will admit that the bulk of my market is here in the United States, I have to sometimes think globally and speak to the global market, because I want to touch people wherever they are, no matter the country. When money comes in, whether through Cash App or donations, or do you think I ask whether the person sending me the money is black or white or Asian or African, or whether they come from one state or one city, or they're part of one clique? No. Because the color of freedom in America is green. And we got to recognize that. We got to stop limiting ourselves, people. I don't care who you are or where you are. What are the words that you speak to yourself that might be limiting you from being better than who you are? What words are you manifesting in your life that is stagnating your life? You know, it's an old biblical concept. In the Old Testament, we find that God asked Adam a question. And God said to Adam, who told you thou was naked? Now, it sounds like an oxymoron coming from God, who knows all things. But who told you to limit you? Who told you that when you set up your business, you're only allowed to speak to black people? Who told you that you're only allowed to service only a certain section of the population that's not even a dominant population? Who's telling you what you cannot do? Meaning, who's telling you that you can't be successful in all things? Who's telling you that as a woman, you can't own a business, or as a black man, you can't own a business and market to people that don't look like you? Who's telling you these things? You know, my buddy told me, he says, the greatest thing that you could do for a black man is teach another black man how to own his own business. And it's not that you won't teach anybody else how to own their own business, but owning a business is the best way to help the black community. Now, I know in certain political and social circles, they love to teach black people in America to be part of social programs. But the reality is, we don't need a social program that limits our growth, that limits our education, and that limits our ability to be bigger and better than who we are. You know, it's funny to me that people during this lockdown situation, this so-called not able to move situation, that you don't really hear a lot of people who was economically prospering complaining too much. Think about it. You got a lot of people that, in spite of everything they say, and we talk about certain government places or certain areas, but in spite of all of that, you find out there's a lot of people who prospered during this time. You know, this thing that we're in has really helped a lot of us become better versions of ourselves, not the worst version. For a lot of people, they was able to finally sit down with their families and their kids, and they reevaluated their life. And in that shift and that reevaluation, they became better versions of themselves than they ever thought. Now, in the words of my daughter, some people seem to have never woke up. Some people are still living in a depressed state. Some people are living in a confused state. Don't take much, just go online and you see all the confusion. But here's another reality. If you take the opportunity to look beyond yourself, think about a dream, and shoot for the sun, and hopefully you'll at least land on the moon. And the reality of that statement is, at least you went farther than you started before. You know, for me, I told y'all that at the time of this recording, you know, I'm on that 1 year anniversary date where I'm just starting to walk. And as they say, you put in a good 30-minute walk with 80% concentration, and get on that scale once a week, and you just watch the weight fall off, or at least you know that you're a little better today than you was yesterday. And you know, that's how I even do my business. Each day that I do at least one good thing to enhance content or make a better video or maybe read one book, I'm better today than I was yesterday. You know what they call that? Growth. But the only way to get that growth is that sometimes you got to do it alone. But in reality, I'm never alone. Because I do it not only for me, but for you too. Think about it. I'm just one man, but I get to talk to the whole world. I'm one man who is in a position to talk to you, to inspire you, to lead you to be a better person today than you was yesterday. And today you have the ability to think beyond yourself. Today you have the ability to do something you've never done before. Today you have the ability to look at things in a different perspective. Now I know you said, you know, hey, this man is at the beach. Yes, I am. Smelling the water, smelling the sea. No birds chirping yet. No fear, just enjoying the coolness. Starting to rain a little bit, but it's okay because I got to get it in. And I guess I don't fear rain because, when I was in the military, it always seemed like we went to the field when the weather was bad. So I'm kind of used to it. But nevertheless, I just want each and every one of y'all today that hears this message. Let this message be about doing something different. Let this message be about upliftment. Let this message be about sitting down and just changing 1 degree about you today. If you got to the end of this message, let me inspire you. Let me encourage you. I'm going to put my email on my page. And my encouraging word for you today is, what is something that you could do today? What is something positive you could do today? How about pick up a book today or your Kindle and read something? Expand your mind today. Read about another ethnicity today. Read about another country today. And if you don't like reading, hear a podcast today. Try expanding even what you would normally believe. If you're liberal, try finding a conservative podcast and just read it. And if it bothers you, if it disturbs you to hear something polar opposite, challenge yourself and ask yourself, why? Why does that message bothers me? What really is it about? Am I limiting myself and my thoughts and my views based on either how I grew up or where I grew up? If you're conservative, listen to a liberal podcast. And if the liberal podcast bothers you, ask the same questions. Why does it bother me? Why does this message disturb me? What's really going on inside of me? Now, I'm not asking you if you're extremely liberal to take extreme conservative views, or if you're an extreme conservative to take extreme liberal views. But what I'm asking you to do is challenge yourself to come to the middle on many different arguments and many different thoughts. There's a whole lot of stuff when it comes to health where people take extreme views on many different things. But what I try to do, even when I'm looking online at things, I listen to the extreme right of certain issues, and I listen to the extreme left of certain issues. And then I try to find the common denominator in the two extremes and be able to go down the middle with my thoughts and my views and my opinions. Now, it works for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but it's a great challenge. I tell you, doing this walk in the morning was a challenge. Getting up after doing a whole lot of things yesterday and being able to get up before the sunrise to take a walk, talk with you. Got to go home and take a shower and eat some fruits, drink some water, take a nice hot shower because Lord knows walking this beach is cold, but it's all right. I know that the more I move, the more I keep warm. And then today I'm going to start reading so that I can bring you some intellectual knowledge, as well as Uncle Stu just loving on his nieces and nephews. I love y'all. I just want you to be a better version than yourselves. I just want you to know that there's somebody out here praying for you. I just want you to know that you are loved today. I just want you to know that you are cared about today. I want you to understand that today somebody woke up this morning to sacrifice their time away from their family and their loved ones just to spend time with you and your loved ones. And I know that sacrificing time and life for somebody else may not seem like the norm, but today it is going to be normal. I don't do it for likes, clicks, and views. I do it because I care about you. Because I remember a time where I was alone and I was isolated and I didn't have no one to talk to, no one to communicate with. So I understand the importance of just an encouraging word and just an encouraging time. You know? So I just want each and every single one of you to have a wonderful and blessed morning, a wonderful and blessed afternoon, a wonderful and blessed night. Whenever you see this video, you just be so awesomely blessed. No matter what your situation, no matter what your circumstances is, you walk in the abundance of what God created. You walk in your abundance today. Walk in your authority today. And walk that you are no limited today. Don't walk in lack. Lack of your mind, lack of your business, lack of your job, lack of your home, and most importantly, lack of love. So I just want you to know, I thank you for rocking with me early this morning as I've been doing this walk with you. And if you want to walk with Uncle Stu in the morning, listen, put a comment in the comment section and we'll schedule a day and a time. And you know I'm learning this new technology, so we'll schedule a day and a time and I'll go live and we can just do a 30-minute walk live together where we can communicate with each other and be able to talk to one another while we do something bigger and better than we ever done before. I want each and every single one of you to know that Uncle Stu loves you and there's nothing that you could do about it. Peace.